Hello, everybody. Welcome to Paranormal Nation Radio. Not so normal. It's not so normal. I'm out in the dinner bus. How's Denise doing?
Denise is great, just a little tired, celebrating that 41st wedding anniversary over the weekend.
Yeah.
And
Where was you guys
also,
at? Where was you
you're
guys at?
home.
Yeah, but where was you at when you was on the road?
We went to South Carolina.
Oh, did you
We
see
went
the
up to,
kids?
so we went up to see the kids and do some stuff. And we no longer have a Toyota RAV4. We now have a almost purple SUV CRV. We traded while we were on vacation.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, apparently Easley is a great place to get a Honda.
Oh,
So we did that. We took the kid to the doctor, dentist, and all that good stuff. Didn't get everything done that we wanted to do, so we're going to be going back. But it was good. We went. We got bored and found out how much we really like where we live.
well, that's
Being
good.
able, being able to go do all the things that we want to do and all that stuff. So, no, we did not go to Charleston, Tom. We only went to Easley. And happy birthday, Carl. I hope you had a great birthday. Hopefully you
Did.
didn't work all day yesterday.
I did, but it was nice and quiet and relaxing day, so everything went good and stuff.
And
But
then like I was telling you before the show, is also Kat Hobson's wedding anniversary yesterday.
yep.
And then today is demonologist Farah Deal Perry's wedding anniversary. And as
Oh,
well as Maggie and Thomas out at the Missouri State Pen, it's their wedding anniversary today as well.
yeah, we hit it everywhere around Memorial Weekend on a lot of people that we know. So
Yep,
yeah,
everybody wants their May and June wedding, and Memorial Day weekend, it's a great time to do something like that. Everybody
I
can get
know.
together. So, and everybody, Ron will be here. I promise. He's outside with the kids. It's his turn to keep the kids busy while I do the show. Like last time, he did the show while I kept the kids. So this time it's my turn to do the show. Plus, I can't see outside right now. My eyes are all dilated. So if I look a little funky, it's because of that. But I went to the eye doctor just a little bit ago. And let me tell you a story about why we got a new car.
Yes.
So back on May 9th, took Ron to the eye doctor. We had a heavy downpour. Could not see squat anywhere. It was raining so hard. I was in the pizza place getting pizza for the grandkids. Well, it was raining so hard you couldn't see the cars. Eventually, I got tired of standing there, so I grabbed the pizza, put it up underneath whatever I've got to keep it dry, and I run out to the car. It's not our car. Somebody else's.
Oh.
Run to the next car. It's not our car. There are so many silver RAV4s here that I couldn't tell the difference in the rain, which car was which. So by the time I got in the car, I was drenched.
Oh, shit.
So needless to say, silver is maybe a nice color, but when everybody has one, it sucks. They either have a Jeep of many different colors. Every house here seems to have a Jeep, or they have a silver RAV4 or a silver something that looks like a RAV4. So I ended up throwing off 2 alarms before I got to my own car and soggy pizza. So needless to say, a bright blue, looks purpley in the sunshine car, I can see even in the dark. Today I had a hard time though with it because I couldn't open my eyes more than this walking out of the eye doctor.
Right.
And we had downpour today too. So apparently there's something about going to the eye doctor here, and you just have to have a heavy downpour to make you appreciate it, I guess. I don't know. But that's the reason why we got a new car. Ron will tell you, it's because they got a great deal and all this stuff. If I'd have said, nah, we wouldn't have gotten it.
Right.
But I said, sure, whatever. I don't care.
Right. Well, that's good, that you got a different car, but,
Yeah. Well,
you've been with the Toyotas for quite a while.
Well, Ron did, because
Yeah.
that's what he had for his work car. I had a Hyundai for
Yeah.
forever.
Right.
So, but it is what it is. I like it. That's all that matters. I got heated seats again, and I know it's 100 degrees outside here, but heated seats, you can use them all year long. They are the best heating pad you can get, especially.
Exactly.
And the car's a hybrid. So when I was listening to Kat's show on Wednesday night, when we were driving through Atlanta on Wednesday night, we were going 3 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Car's a hybrid. Paid for itself right then. Didn't have to worry about the heat or the air or anything. Didn't have to worry about it wasting gas. It didn't. So, yeah, it was a great car. It's a great car for that. So, and I'd like to say hello to everyone in the chat. I'm going to stop yapping now, and I'm going to introduce you guys to our guests tonight. I know many of you, let's see, almost all of you probably already know Robbin Terry and Ashley Burgoon from Ashmore Estates. So I don't know why I'm going to waste my time with much more, because you guys already know them. So let's bring them up and welcome them to the show. So
I forgot my cohort. Oh, there she is.
Yeah. Welcome.
You can leave me off. It's fine.
No. Well, just so everybody knows, Ashley may have to run to go do some family stuff. So when she leaves, make sure that you guys
Building stuff.
Oh,
I guess that is family stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, that is family stuff. Yeah. She's got stuff going on, so keep that in mind. So
right.
And if you have any questions for Ashley, ask them early so that she can get them answered. So, but welcome guys to the show. How are you guys doing? I know that, Robbin just had some surgery and he's doing well from it. So we're all happy about that. We were all praying for you.
Thanks.
He's still here to annoy us, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, I'm still upright anyway, so that's and bugging the hell out of her. So yeah, so like, sometimes I think she regrets that, but at the same time, sometimes she probably doesn't. So
I got a feeling that if she didn't like it, she wouldn't have bought into Ashmore Estates.
Right.
No.
See, she loves you regardless. So
there's that fine print. He didn't see that I still need adult supervision sometimes. So.
I hate to say it, I think we all do.
Mm-hmm.
If we didn't need adult supervision, sometimes we really wouldn't be having fun in life.
Right.
So Ashley, what made you buy into Ashmore Estates?
That's a really good question. I really wish I had a decent answer for you, because I don't. It's kind of like everybody else.
Want to be around me more.
How much was that check you were going to send me? No, it kind of like everybody else with locations. I came up here 11 years ago for the first time. What was that, a week ago? I think we figured out. And something about this building just, I couldn't get away from it. And I kept coming back. And now here I am. I mean, if you would have told me 11 years ago that not only was I going to live next door, but I was going to, own it, I would have told you were crazy. But here I am. So yeah, there was something about the building and the residents here that just kind of grabbed me and didn't let go. And so here I am. So I actually moved, 2 hours from my hometown to come up here and dragged both my kids up here and my grandparents. And so, yeah, it was kind of like a family thing. And now here we are.
And where was your hometown before?
I lived down by Alton, Illinois.
Okay, I know.
So about 2 hours south of here.
Yeah. Oh, I know where it is. Yeah. I'm a volunteer at McPike Mansion.
Okay. Yeah, I actually lived about 20 minutes from there. So
yeah, I'm probably the furthest volunteer that she has now. So
yeah, been by there plenty of times.
Yeah. We've been volunteers there since 2009.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a long time. I just wish that I wish restoration went faster. I know you guys do too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was cheaper.
Definitely. Yeah.
So Robbin, I know that you've told this story a million times. What made you say, I need to buy this place?
It was the whole thing was kind of weird anyway, but because I found out about it for sale by a fluke, where we had a haunted house. I lived in an old movie theater, and we had a haunted house here in the basement of the theater. And I had a guy that called me, wanted to look at buying some of our Halloween props that we were going to sell. So he came over and looked at a few things, bought them. And I'm really giving you the short version of it. But you want to know if he could kind of wander around the theater with me if I show him, since we lived here. And I'm like, yeah, I will. So we got upstairs and we started talking. And I asked him, I said, what are you going to do with all these props? He's like, well, I've got a haunted house right now. But I'm going to build one in Indiana. I said, where's the one now? Because it's, being that we ran a haunted house for 10 years, I knew a lot of the haunted houses in the area. And he told me Ashmore Estates. I was like, oh. I said, well, some of the props you bought came from Ashmore Estates, because I bought them from John or from Scott Kelly and Tanya. So he said, yeah. I said, what are you going to do with that place? He's like, I'm going to sell it. And my wife's sitting on the other side of the room going like, oh, crap. So because she knows that I've been out there before and talked about the place, and said that I really enjoyed it out there, but the day that I was out there was with a tour group that was totally overbooked, and the place was a mess, and you couldn't do anything. So I pretty much slept in the car. And so I asked him, I said, can I come out and take a look at it? I might be interested. So we went out there, and there was something about it when I walked down the second floor, and Ashley, be quiet. I always tell everybody I'm about as sensitive as a rock. And but there was something about the second floor. When I walked down the second floor, there was something there that said, was like reaching out saying, help our building. And it wasn't about helping them, because I think that the people there were perfectly content there, because that's all they knew. But it was the building that was in such disrepair that it was, there was one window in the entire building that was, you could see out of. Everything else was either boarded up or covered up with cloth or something, so you couldn't even see out anything except the one window. So I had kind of came back, jumped in the car, and on the way back, and it's 2 hours away from me. So it's not like it's right around the corner. It's 2 hours away. And on the way back, my wife said, well, you should just buy it. And I looked at her like, what did you just say? And she's like, oh, you want it, just buy it. And I'm like, okay. So I worked out a deal with the guy and bought it, and went out there, and we closed on it. I think it was like May 4th or something like that. Whatever that Friday was, 11 years ago, May 3rd, May 4th, something along there. And so I jokingly went out there and took a picture out front and said, the only thing cooler than owning one haunted location is owning two. And took a picture of the building and posted it. And the picture I posted was pathetic looking. It was like, it was in such bad shape. Anybody in their right mind would have said, oh, hell no. And that's the key point. It had to be in their right mind. And the wrong mind to buy it. Yep. So I had a couple of friends contact me about wanting to come up and see if I need any help, and then had all kinds of people start contacting me. So we started setting up work dates, because I'm kind of one that wants to do everything by myself. Not so much because I really want to, just because I don't want to ask for help. And so I just try to do it myself. And your lips bleeding, Ashley.
I'm not saying a word.
But I just felt there were so many people that really wanted to get involved and wanted to help. So I said, all right, let's do it. So we ended up, it was going to be a 4 to 6 month project before I would even let anybody in. And I was hoping to have the roof on there in 3 months. And we had the roof on there. In fact, my memories keep popping up right now, because we had the roof done this past weekend. So I didn't even have it a month, and the roof was done. And then we wanted to get everything else cleaned out of there. But I was amazed at how many people showed up out there to help. Most I didn't even know. There was a group of people that came out, like Ashley and some other ones that I knew, but not a lot of them. And some came out almost every weekend just to help us and do stuff. And everybody thinks owning those locations is great. It is, but it isn't. It's like the first year I owned the place, I dumped $75,000 into that building. Just trying to, and that was basically to clean it up and get windows in it and get the water we put in the following year, and just to get things up. And so it was, as far as I was concerned, safe to investigate. And because I'm like, no, we're not doing that. I'm not opening the place up. It's ready to go. And so that's what we did. But I haven't regretted it. I've enjoyed it. I met a lot of people, made a lot of close friends. Ashley being, one of the top one of those friends I made out there, because I knew her before Ashmore, but Ashmore brought us together that much closer, because she was out there to help, and she was out there other times. And then she came out. There was probably a span for quite a few years. You were just out there with the team investigating. That was it. And just for the last 3-4 years, probably, she kind of came out there a lot more and helped out. And then she made the stupid mistake probably 5 years ago when she told me, she said, hey, if you ever decide to build a house out there with 3 bedrooms and 2 baths, I'll move out there.
Yeah.
And so,
Watch what you say around him.
So about 3 years ago, I decided to tear down the mobile home that was out there. And so I called her up and I said, you said a 3-2, right? And she's like, what? I said, you said a 3 bedroom, 2 bath, and you move out here. And she's like, yeah, I guess I did say that. And I said, well, I'm going to do it. I said, so I'm calling you first. If you don't want it, somebody else is going to. And she's like, can you give me a week? So I'm like, yeah, I can do that. So I did. And then here we are. And, worked it out. And the idea when I brought her out there, her and I talked about it, at that time. I said, I'm going to make this work some point in time where you're going to buy the place, and you're going to own it. So when you come out here to move out here, you're going to end up owning the place. I kind of looked at it this way. I'm 68 years old. And just like the situations I had this past week, you never know what's going to bring tomorrow. And I wanted to make sure that when I'm gone, that the place was in good hands. And I had a guy that wrote a book back in 2015, I think it was, that that talked about it. He asked me, he's like, hey, when you get older, sooner or later you're going to have to sell this place. You got any ideas what you're going to do? And he started throwing numbers out. He said, would you sell it, different numbers? And he's like, would you sell it for $500,000? And I said, that'd be tough to turn that down. I said, but the right person's really got to be there. And I said, I don't know, depending on what that person is. And so I said, at some point in time, I'll know who to sell it to, because the right person will come along and they'll do it. I'll sell to them. So I just felt with Ashley that she was the one, and she was the perfect one to do it. And she was the only one on my list. So there was, if she would have told me no, not only would I have been heartbroken about the whole thing, but then I don't know where I would have gone. So it would probably it would have ended up with something like some places out east. I guarantee you that. And but yeah, it had been tough because it's kind of weird, but you almost want to interview the buyer, and and only I would only sell to certain people, and I had nobody else on the list. So.
But it's a big, huge endorsement for you, Ashley.
Right.
There's no way I would have let somebody else take it. There's no way. Yeah. It is. I don't want to say scared or nervous, but I don't really know what the word is, but I couldn't see somebody else walking up here and taking it. Like it would kill me. Like, it's like, like I said earlier, this building is my family. It really is.
You've got a huge thing on your shoulders, though, when it comes time for you to step away. You're going to have to live up to that.
Until I'm in a jar out back by the tree. So,
yeah, but you have to remember, you got to do it before that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, when I get there, we'll figure it out. Hopefully that's not for a while.
Well, the good thing with her is that, she, if she's looking at, even at my age, I can see Ashley spending, easily 30 years out there without she even having to think about it. And so, and then she's going to live on the property. That's one thing that if I lived on the property, I'd probably still own it. In fact, it was kind of touch and go for a little bit there, because when we're building the house and everything out there, and we kind of, the house is okay. We kind of overbuilt it a little bit, but my wife's like, I could live out here. And I'm like, oh crap, don't do this to me now, because, but then I'm like, okay, I can't move everything that I own out here. So there's just no way. And, but that's, if she would have told me no, I'd have built the house, we would have probably moved out there. and I just had people either come out there and help, just like they have been, or I just did it all myself, one or the other. But until I couldn't do it anymore and had to sell it.
Right.
Well, Ashley, I know you're going to do a great job. I mean, we met you when we were out there in October of last year.
Mm-hmm.
You did a great job then.
Well, thank you.
Of course, we got to goof off with Robbin for quite a while that same night. So we had a great time. I will tell you, we did have something very unusual happen that I think you guys will enjoy hearing. It's very positive. While we were investigating, we had David with us, David Glidden, and, Susan and Mike and Carl and Gary Ron. And while we were all together, we all had a common friend that you guys have.
Mm-hmm.
And we're standing there and we're talking, and through the echo box comes Rick Rose's voice, his favorite piece of equipment. And he comes through there saying, "I'm here." And to me, that was huge because it was his voice. It wasn't anything in the echo box. There's nothing. And everybody, the minute I said that's Rick's voice, everybody agreed that it was him.
Mm-hmm.
So, and at that point in time, I hadn't seen your memorial to Rick because it was still dark. We didn't have any lights. You kind of have to walk around with a flashlight. And I tend to walk around in the dark. I don't usually have too many lights with me. So it was one of those things that was bittersweet to have his voice come through there. But if anybody understands how that feels, I know that Robbin definitely understands how that feels. To know that your friend is there visiting while you're visiting.
Right. Yep. Rick was out there quite a few different times. In fact, I had actually talked to Rick about
people are outside.
I talked to Rick about coming out there.
Who do you want to message?
My phone's going off on me. Let me get rid of that. So I don't want to message anybody. So Siri thinks she needs to talk to somebody. But no, I talked to Rick. Oh, it was probably a couple years before he died. About coming out there, and he wanted to come out there and live out there and take care of the investigations and tours and everything. I told him, I'm like, Rick, I love you like a brother, but no. And I said, because you'll be here today, you'll be gone tomorrow. And I said, nope. I said, you're too flighty. You run around everywhere, which I mean, nothing. He does. That's what he did. It was like up and gone here, and up and gone here. So my phone's doing stupid stuff over there. Maybe it's like, Rick, leave me phone alone. It's like, I don't know what's going on with it.
That would not surprise me one bit.
Yeah, it really. But yeah, Rick and I joked around out there quite a bit. The one night he was going to spend the night out there, and he's like, I'm just going to stay here all night. I'm like, okay. He's like, you can just lock the doors in there. I said, say what? I said, you just bolt the door from the inside, and then I'll give you a key, and if you decide to come out, you can lock it. Then he's like, no, I'll be in here all night. So he was doing a live, and 45 minutes later, he came out. I heard the door shut, heard the door lock, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm done." He's like, "There's something in there," and he was sitting on the second floor, up there in the large room on the floor, and he said he was finished and couldn't do it. So
we still owes me a Ouija board table. Darn it!
we were on the second floor at the nurses' station. He came through.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep. He did his little he pranced around there in short shorts one night doing a little cowboy song with his cowboy boots on, and it's like, oh. In fact, Jay Lynch had just posted something where Jay was up there the one night that and Rick was there filming with them, and Jay got touched on the head, and Rick was there. So Rick was a great guy, and he should. Unfortunately, he didn't take things as serious as he probably should have back in that year.
Well, it is what it is, and we all have good memories of him, and we need to keep those good memories as part of our, our repertoire of things that we don't ever want to forget.
Oh yeah. Yep. I met
So-
Rick when Brad Kling had him doing some filming and all for him, and he
I
came
remember.
over here and all. So yep. But yeah, that's when I met Rick. Was.
Yeah, I met Rick about a year and a half before that. I met him in January 2015, right after we did after we were on the episode of Ghost Adventures.
Okay.
He actually called me the next night, and it was like we'd known each other forever. I love you. So, but and we just tried to make arrangements to meet up with his mom, but it didn't happen. They had some stuff happen with the races that they were doing. This is back in April. So, but we're going to make sure that we try to catch up with her in July. So, but I think the memorials that you guys have on the walls for the people who that were regulars there that passed, I think is wonderful. And
Okay.
I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my heart for all those people there that you have that I've loved, that we've lost.
Yeah, we've offered that up to anybody that had somebody that they that passed away that was involved with the paranormal, or just a friend of someone from the paranormal. Just send us the photo and everything. We'll put it up there. So so it's not just what we want to put up there. It's the whole floor was set up basically. Honestly, when I did that, I thought the thing would get filled with pictures and everything. But what you've seen up there when you guys were out there, that's all that's been up there since I started doing it 10 years or so ago. So it's kind of sad, I think, that there's not more of them up there.
Maybe it's just that people feel that there has to be a connection to the place before they do it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, my parents had never been out there, but I'm connected to the place, and I felt that I wanted to bring that out there. And I honestly think that Ashmore is kind of a different place in that there's a lot of people that come there that either don't know anybody and they show up. I mean, Ashley had a friend that his daughter came out there, and she's been deceased for quite a few years, and she showed up one night out there with a psychic that was with them, seeing her out there, and I think that was the first time that he was even out there, and she showed up. So it's kind of a meeting place in a way.
Supposedly has been here, and my son supposedly has seen my dad here twice, and my dad never came here when he was alive.
Oh yeah, I tell people all the time that when you go to a paranormal location intentionally to see or hear spirits, any spirit can show up. Ones that came with you could come at any time, and they need to keep that in mind. Sometimes they just want it to be the spirits of that location, and they kind of overlook the spirits that could have come with them. So you just don't know what people just don't have a clue. When we were doing the Sally House, more often than not, we had spirits of the people that came with them more than we had the spirits that were in the house. So bye, Donna. I love you. Keep taking your medicine, get better. So
in fact, when I was out there, when I decided to buy it, that floor, and I was on the floor, I was telling a friend of mine about it, and he said, you've got a lot of people that follow you around all the time. And he said, probably what happened out there, he said, you started looking through the place and everything, and they're like looking at this and trying to put it in your head that you should come out there and help their building. And he said, the spirits from the theater probably said, you should see what he's done to our place. And so they're like, oh, we want him out here then. So that's what that's what I think some of it came about because of that. So
I just got word that my sister's fiance died tonight at 7:03.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Sorry.
Well, he's in a better place. Not at Ashmore, but he's in a better place.
You never know. What's one more?
Yeah, what's one more? Open the doors up. Hey, Carrie, go here.
Yeah, I guess she killed another one off.
Oh, don't say that. She could be listening. We don't want to go there. But yeah, I mean,
I was like 4 or 5. I don't know.
no, but my sister Donna, who's in the chat, had to
Hey,
leave,
Don.
and she messaged me and told me what happened. She had to go because Judy called. So sad as it is, still in a better place. No longer on a ventilator. No longer in the hospital. And as Robbin knows, being in the hospital is not one of the best places to be.
No, not for any particular long period of time. So
no. So, but
say if Dan and Kitty's in there, they'll remember meeting them the first time, like we did.
I don't want to talk about it. It's a funny story, but not one we want to share publicly. So we'll keep it for that.
We've got some of those.
Oh, well, if we get to it after the show, I may tell you. But Carl knows the story, but it was funny as hell. So, but we've talked about why Robbin bought the place. Well,
he went to get his gun.
Well, we don't want to talk about it, but we talked about how Robbin bought the place and how he got there, and how Ashley got there.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Ashley, what are your plans? Are you just going to keep going the route that Robbin started, or are you going to change the route up a little bit?
No, I don't have any plans to change anything. I'm basically going to keep doing what he started. Basically just keep running things the same. I still ask his opinion on things, even though he tells me really. Or what do you think? And I'm like, well, that's why I'm asking you.
Here's how bad it was.
It's a good business model.
We even discussed last night the toilet paper and the air fresheners.
Okay.
Why?
Oh yeah.
As long as the air fresheners don't smell like used toilet paper, you're doing great.
There you go.
So, well, he did put the business model right there.
No, they definitely do not.
So we're having a lag.
Yeah. He's been a pretty good teacher. He's been a pretty good teacher.
So, Robbin, do you have any thoughts on the recent sale of the Villisca Axe Murder House that you can share?
Oh well, if I had views, I'd share them. That's not, that would need to be a question. But I think from talking to a couple of friends of mine, I think Johnny kind of got screwed over in that whole thing, and it goes from back before that, because supposedly he was told years ago that the lady, I forget her name now, that owned it was going to
Martha.
Whenever she decided to sell it, she was going to sell it to Johnny for $1 because he'd done so much and been over there so much. And then somebody came along and offered her a boatload of money for the place, and I kind of get it in a way. I mean, if somebody came along and said, hey, I'm gonna, you're gonna sell it, I'll give you $1 million for the place, it'd be really tough to sit there and turn that down. But at least you should take care of and say, hey, I told you I'd give you this place for this. I got a guy talking to me this money. I'd be crazy not to, but I at least need to compensate you for.
I better get some of that. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly the same thing. If somebody came along and after Ashley and I worked out a deal, and they come home and said, hey, I'll give you $1 million for Ashmore, it'd be like, okay, well, let's talk about this. Maybe we can work something out, between the three of us and something like that. But no, that guy, I think, has bought a couple of spots, looking to buy more, and he's just turned him into. I think from what I've seen, he's kind of turned him into circus effect, circus act for the most part.
That's what I've been seeing.
Yeah, and that's it. And he's going to start just trying to do things. I mean, they selling the axes at the Axe Murder House, stuff like that for souvenirs and all. I bought some little wine glasses that we were going to sell that had initials AE on them, and they were kind of cool looking, but they weren't selling. And so I said, everybody likes candles. Let's make candles out of these and do that. Well, then when the Axe Murder thing came out and I heard about all that, a bell clicked. I thought, I don't want to put candles out here. I mean, it was the previous building, but Elva's dress caught fire because of a candle. And
Right.
I don't want to make it, I mean, it never even came to our mind at the time we talked about doing that. But then after the fact, we're looking at it, it's like, no, that's not right. We're not doing that. So we may do it, but we'll do it on the road. We're not going to sell them at the building, because I'd have a problem with doing that there. So we decided not to do it. But yeah, I think he's taking advantage of some things. Hopefully people will just kind of skip those properties. And I'm not saying that because you own a property, but just like there's another one that a couple of big name YouTubers bought that raised the price like crazy. And they think they're going to reap the benefits, I guess, because of their name on that. I'm not sure how that's going to work for them, because they're not there, when they do it. So it's like, why would you guys think that these people are going to spend a lot of money because you own it now? Just because you own it doesn't mean they're going to, wow, let's go here because they own this place.
Right.
Yeah, it's been, I mean, luckily we got our first tour from Darwin years ago. And I remember Darwin telling us that his wife did not want him to buy the place. She didn't even know. Yeah, she didn't even know that he bought it when he bought it.
He even told us, he goes, she was very upset.
Yeah. And so when we went back after he had died and she was doing the tours, she said, "This is my retirement." Darwin made sure this is my retirement. And she said it in a way that was unflattering for her. And
she goes, "That's why you pay in cash."
Yeah.
I went, "Oh,
so,
is that to hide money?
But
taxes?" Oh,
I just don't know how
I wouldn't go there.
How Johnny's going to be able to sell his house if he decides he wants to leave.
That house isn't his. That was hers.
Yeah.
That house went with the deal. He's been evicted. He no longer lives in that house.
Yeah. Yeah, you didn't know that?
No.
Right. I talked to Johnny about it.
I didn't get a chance to talk to him about it ever.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, he's in an apartment complex. At least he was. Yeah. I'm not sure where he's at now, but he was in an apartment complex where his ex-wife lives with the kids, and doesn't have a job. The town of Villisca, I mean, there's basically a gas station. That's about it. So,
I know. Ron's family's.
Yeah, there's nothing there.
Long story short, Ron's great uncle was the sheriff in the Villisca axe murders. So we have a family connection to the town.
Yeah, sounds like it.
So there's nothing there, and except for Casey's, so
yeah.
So he's probably up in Omaha at this point, or Council Bluffs,
or growing corn,
chasing cows.
And cows.
That's all there is in Iowa. Corn, cow, corn. So I feel so bad for him.
Yeah, like Dara mentioned in your chat, that was a prime example about know who you're selling it to, and that's that was my whole thing, is sell it to somebody that I think will do a good job with everything. And
Martha didn't care. She wanted the money.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
I guarantee she's probably left Villisca. So
probably so.
I mean, it's a small town with next to nothing. Unless your name is Jackson, nobody cares who you are. Just saying. So I don't know. I just feel bad for him. And I feel bad for those other locations too that this guy has bought, because I heard that he owns the Lizzie Borden home in Massachusetts, and there was some other place that I heard he bought.
I think something down south. And that he was also, somebody mentioned Malvern Manor. He was also looking at Malvern, because Josh doesn't own that completely anyway. Somebody else owns that. I'm not sure what the percentage split is in that, but if that guy owns more of it than Josh does.
Right.
Oh, Josh doesn't own any of it.
Yeah, I don't think he owns any. He sold his part.
Yeah, Josh became the manager. So for a paycheck as opposed to ownership, and which is good, because that means that he can go play his music, because he likes to do that, and he can go do whatever it is.
Yeah, probably the same person that bought Villisca is probably wanting it.
Yeah,
he does.
The Fricks own it, from what I recall. Jenna and
At Omaha.
Yeah.
Right.
I forgot the guy's name. I think it's Eric for some reason, but I know they own it. And the last time we went there, the tour guide said, "You've been here enough. You just give the tour."
Yep.
So
Pretty
yeah,
much.
it
Can
was
I
his-
do that too?
It was Ron's family.
I've seen you've done that before.
I have. There are some people I can do that with that come
Oh,
here
yeah.
that much.
Oh yeah, I think I know some of those people.
Well, there's some people we basically just don't
uh-huh.
even go in the building. They get there, we open the door and tell them have fun, and just walk away.
Pretty much. Yeah, it's true. Like,
Yeah.
here's the
Yeah.
lock. You know what to do. Here, you have my number. Call me if you need me.
They can run over to your house with their hair on fire. Let us in.
Pretty much. I
Yep.
mean,
Yeah, a friend of ours did an investigation at the Sally House the other night, and she gave us a little video tour. Carl, she goes, yeah, there's caution tape when you open the door to the basement.
Yeah.
She goes, there's caution tape and there's some other stuff. And I said, oh, just go under it. They plywooded the whole entrance to the, you can't
really?
get in the basement.
Can't get down the stairs.
It's like, why would you rent the damn house if you can't get in the basement?
Yeah, because that's where most of the activities at.
Exactly. That's totally worth. I'm like, who would go there?
And they upped the price.
Plus, whatever was in there before is not there, but that's beside the fact. You can't get in the basement. It's
Yeah.
it's like you rent an Ashmore and going, you can only go in this room here. That's it.
Right.
Can't go down by
I'm
the
going to
stairs.
close out the boiler
Can't do
room. You
nothing.
can't go in there. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, oh,
That's
You can't go in the
wonder
boiler
they
room and you
can't.
can't go on the third floor.
that's why, no one's gonna go there.
And they upped the price from $100 per person to $125. Yeah.
I wouldn't go if they picked me up and paid me to go.
Is the Chamber of Commerce still in charge of it?
Yeah,
Oh,
they're
man.
still.
Oh, and all the signs are back on the walls telling them what the paranormal activity is. And
Oh, bull
all
crap.
made up stories. So
wouldn't you guys love to do that? Just let's do self-guided tours. Just have signs on the walls and just go look, read the words on the signs. So we
Do you know
took
how many signs I would
That's
have to hang
all we
up?
got 'em.
Like, how much I would have to print out?
I
yeah,
know.
There would be signs everywhere.
Yeah, well, they only picked a period of time from let's see, the stuff that happened to the Pickmans.
that
and
place,
then
it's a
some
joke.
paranormal team
It's-
gave them some crap and they put it up. And I took it all down when we were doing tours.
Go to McIntyre. If you're going to Atchison, you want to book a house, go to McIntyre.
Right.
At least you get your money's worth.
And Stephanie is
If
a
you're going
great
to Atchison, yeah.
Stephanie's
great
a great
owner.
host.
Yep.
Just like Robbin and you are. You guys are great hosts. You guys make it worth our while to go up there and give us heat and air in the summer and keep us, and we got to be the first people to sign our names on the wall of the outhouse.
That's right.
That's
There
right.
you go.
I forgot about that.
Yep,
We
that
did.
was us. That was that night. We went to go back in there to so people could sign, and you'd already locked the outhouse and turned the water back on inside
Mm-hmm.
that morning.
Yeah.
Oh, so
How many nights a year are you booked at Ashmore?
Oh my God. We're booked every Friday and Saturday right now up until the second weekend of November.
Oh, wow.
And then we're
Oh,
booked
wow.
through the week. Sometimes, like I have a group tonight. They're actually sitting outside, so I'm gonna have to go in a minute. And they're actually doing 2 nights in a day, so they're gonna be here from tonight till Thursday morning. And then Memorial Day weekend, I just had a group that did the same thing. So yeah, the schedule is pretty packed. So it's a good problem to have.
Oh, yeah. That's,
Yeah, it is.
So it's pretty busy.
well, that's good. I'm glad that you're doing so well.
I mean,
and-
we do daytimes too.
oh, yeah.
yeah, we do
we've been out a
daytimes,
couple times today.
We do
And
tours,
we got
like 2-hour
activity in the
tours.
day.
Yeah, so it's honestly, I mean, obviously we have stuff that happens at night, but personally, like for me, I've probably had more stuff happen during the day in here, just when we're in here, like working on stuff or cleaning, just random stuff here
everyday
and there,
things.
which of course a lot of it I'm used to, so I don't really react to it. I kind of just like, oh, okay, you know, that's what we're gonna do today. Cool. But and it's not just the building, you know, we have stuff that happens outside. The bunkhouses all have stuff. I know the last 2 weekends, the last 2 people that have stayed in the bunkhouses have both had stuff happen. And no, my house is not off limits either. We have stuff that happens over there. Just this weekend, we had stuff happening over there. So yeah, it's everywhere. There isn't a safe space, if you want to call it.
More than likely, the house across the street even has
Yeah.
activity related.
Yeah, the lady that used to live over there, when I
I'm
bought it,
sure.
she was there
Yeah.
until like May or June. And the lady that lived there told me that she'd come out sometimes in the morning and the cabinets in the kitchen were open and her medication was laying on the counter. So she was only there. I talked to her for about 3 months, but she left after 2-3 months and moved out. But she was there for quite a while. It wasn't because of that she moved out, but yeah, she had some experiences that she'd tell me about.
Well, when we were in the break room back in October when we were there, I was trying to make hot chocolate. Okay. I do not know. I don't have a coffee maker. I know nothing about it. Okay. So I get it going and it overflows. So I go and I clean up the mess. Okay. Susan goes to do the same thing and she does the same thing. I mean, exactly the same thing. We're having to clean it up again.
But she's a coffee drinker.
But she's a coffee drinker. So that's a whole different thing. But during that, they got an EVP about us getting coffee and hot chocolate everywhere. So it was pretty funny that they were making fun of us in the break
They're
room.
probably the ones that did it. I don't know.
And who knows? Maybe the ghost did it. I don't know. But you know, I'm taking the blame because I'm going, I don't know what I'm doing. But I mean, Carl was there while we were making this mess. You know, basically spent half an hour cleaning up water and coffee off of everything just so that we didn't leave it a mess. So I don't know. I guess I'll have to read up on how to use a Keurig the next time I go to do something. So, oh well. We put too much water in it is what it is.
Right.
But it was funny that she got an EVP of this spirit making fun of us because it said something about coffee. I was like,
That's funny.
So it could have been worse.
We've got I know one girl that was there. You know, I think there's one spirit in the building that might be my brother. I don't know. He's not dead, but you know, we won't go there. But at the same time, it's somebody that would be like me, just harassing people. There was a girl that was there one time, and she was, you know, talking to me. And she's like, "Things are really kind of quiet, so I really haven't any experiences. Like, got any suggestions?" And I told her, I said, "You know, I always like thinking out of the box, do something that's a little bit different." And I said, she had a prosthetic, and I said, "Why don't you find a spot, sit down, take the prosthetic off, and try something like that?" She's like, "Why would I do that?" I said, "Just because it's different and it might draw some attention." She's like, "All right." So she went upstairs, and I think she was sitting in the room that, you know, there was a sign, speaking of which is gone, I think, that said Robbin's Nest. And but she was sitting down there and took her prosthetic off and laid it on the floor and was asking questions and all. And she got an EVP. She came down. She's like, "You're not going to believe this." And she let me hear it. You clears the bell. You hear it say, "Hey, Stumpy." And and then we had another girl that was up there one time doing an investigation, and she came down and they were listening to the recorders, you know, while they were sitting in the break room, and you know, we heard her say, "Oh, he did not," and I'm like, "Didn't do what?" She's like, "Listen to this," and and this girl was a little heavy set, and she had like spandex on and something like that, and there's a voice that comes through and say, "Hey, junkie," and so it's like, yeah, so. Yeah, I think we got one spirit that likes to tease people in there quite a bit.
Definitely got a sense of humor there.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Either that or a
I'm gonna
mean streak.
sneak off
I don't know.
and go let this group in the building
Well,
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, and we really appreciate all that you're doing out there at Ashmore Estates and helping Robbin stay Robbin.
Well, you know, I don't get paid enough for that, but somebody's got to do it.
Listen to her.
It was in the fine print and the contract.
Exactly. Yeah. Underneath the part, she has to wear shorts. So.
Oh,
That's right. No.
Not Daisy
That is
Dukes,
not
just-
happening.
not
That's
Daisy
not
Dukes,
happening.
just shorts. Okay, got it.
No. Mm-mm. We'll see. We'll see.
There you go.
Hey, I could work there.
We'll see about that.
Oh. Well, thank you so much, Ashley.
See,
and
you
have a
have
great
him.
night.
He can wear shorts for you.
Yeah, I wear shorts too.
Thank you,
Jerry.
guys. Bye.
Thank you.
But,
Hey, kiddo.
Bye.
See ya.
Oh,
but yeah.
you are very
So
lucky
now we-
to have found her.
Now we can
Rob.
talk about her without her hearing it. So.
Oh yeah, that's right. We can,
Oh,
can't
she
we?
can watch the replay.
Yeah.
Which is why we're not saying anything negative.
No.
Yeah.
So yeah, you were very lucky to find her. She seems to really, first off, she gives a shit, and sometimes
Yep.
that's something that you can't instill in
Oh
somebody.
yeah.
Well, you know, the thing with Ashley and I have is we've got a weird relationship because I'm either like a father, a second husband, or a second wife to me. You know, like her father, or she's like my second wife, or I'm like her grandfather sometimes with her kids, you know, with her two boys. But yeah, we just get along really good. And you know, there's times that if we did argue about anything, it's kind of like we'd be arguing about something, and like 5 minutes later, it's like, "Are you done?" It's like, "Yeah, I'm done." Okay, then they hug each other. And it's like, "Let's go grab something for dinner," and then we take off. And it's like, you know, which is it's good because with owning a business, and you know, I mean, it's a contract that she's, you know, kind of going into, and I honestly, if somebody saw the contract, they'd probably like, "What were you thinking?" Because I've set it up basically all in her best interest, not in mine. And you know, so it's set up like that so that and I did it for purpose because I wanted to make sure she would succeed because I don't have that second person in line, because she can turn around tomorrow and say, "I really don't want to do this," and sign it back over to me and walk away. You know, I don't really foresee that happening, but at the same time, it's that she's that, you know, that could happen. You know, but like I said, I don't think it will. And but you know, because I've had other people that came to me like, "I didn't know you were gonna sell it. I'd been interested," and I'm like, tell myself, I'm like, well, I wouldn't have been. So it's like, so you know, and but yeah,
Right.
but it's worked out really well, and yeah, it'll continue to. We've been working on it. Like I said, we worked on the whole thing for a year and a half, you know, and going through everything numerous times and making sure that things were the way that everybody wanted to. I said, take it to an attorney, take it to anybody. So she took it to her grandfather. She had a lot of respect for. He passed away just a little over a year ago, and took it to him, and he thought it was a pretty good deal for her and all as well. So, in fact, I even did something not that long ago, even made it a better deal for her. So she's like, "You're kidding me." You know, when I got done doing it, and telling her what I was doing, she's like, "You're kidding, right?" I'm like, "Nope, decided I'm going to do this." And she's like, "Okay." And so yeah, so I'm just like, it's hers. I don't really see her falling, and you know, and shouldn't have to spend a lot of money out there because I've already done all that. So you know, so my idea was basically trying to get my money back, you know, from everything I've invested over the last 11 years for the most part, and that. So you know, I'm happy with the whole thing, and it's kind of like I've given away that you know, I've given away that child, but I have visitation rights. So and yep. So it yeah, and you know, so we'll see how it goes for her. You know, and she knows she can get a hold of me anytime she wants to. If she has any questions, I mean, just like last night, we were silly things. She's like talking to me about toilet paper. I'm like, "Are you serious? You're actually asking me about which toilet paper I was like, you know, that you should buy?" And so, but
To know that, because you guys do have a very sensitive septic system there.
yeah. So yeah, and well, it's a pretty good sized one, but then you don't want certain things thrown down there and all, and you know, and I've learned by I told her, I said, you have to do what I tell you to sometimes, even if you don't agree, because I learned from mistakes, and that's why I'm telling you got to do this stuff. So, it's like we had problems for 2 years in a row with our septic backing up. Like 2 or 3, usually about the third investigation in, we'd have wastewater all over the floor. And I mean, it was running an inch deep everywhere down there by the team room and all. So, and I finally figured out what was going on is that, if you're, those pipes, if you don't flush them out after you get done in the fall, stuff sits in there, dries, and builds like a dam. And so 3 or 4 weeks into it, 3 and 4 investigations after, there's more solids and paper and everything else going down there, it all backs up. So like, this is what you got to do. You don't have any choice. You have to do this, or you're going to really, really be upset about it. So
Yeah.
So after 2 years, I figured out what that problem was, and we have not, knock on wood, we've not had that problem since. I figured out how to take care of it. Problem solved. I'm like, so learn from my mistakes, and don't cut it short. So
hey, Richie, glad to see that you're here. Wanted to say hi to Dara and Susan and Mike and Julie and Donna's already gone, but Karen, Ron's mom, she's in the chat. And let's see,
Pastor
Tom, Pastor
Garwood.
Gary.
Oh, that's AKA.
And then we had somebody earlier.
Mom. Yeah, Mom.
Oh, hey, Dan. I'm sorry.
Dan?
And Jonathan. So thank you guys all. If you guys have any questions at all for Robbin, please feel free to put him in the chat, and we'll make sure we ask him. So do that, please. And Richie, we're always on YouTube. You could always find us there. So have fun with that.
Loves Gloria Estefan.
Yes.
Loves.
Yes.
Just can't get enough of it.
Yeah. The rhythm's going to get you.
The rhythm's going to get you.
Just keep that in mind. Someday I will share the video with all of you, of Richie, and the rhythm's going to get you.
Look at that. Listening while he mows. He's dancing to Gloria Estefan. Mowing.
It's probably a pregnant mower. You don't want to know. We went on a cruise, and this is Ron's cousin, and he'd been drinking all day.
All day?
And they didn't have Baby Shark to sing, so we picked Gloria Estefan, The Rhythm's Gonna Get You. And he's reading this, he's going, I don't even know this song. And
He still said he didn't do it, but we had the video to prove it.
The whole family has videos of it. It was so funny, I couldn't stop laughing while I was recording.
Hey, Kelly.
So, hey, Kelly. So Robbin, what are your plans with the Haunted R?
Oh, we live here. I mean, that's where my office is right now. That's where I'm sitting here right now. And my house is here, and my office is here, and I've got about a 54 by 54 garage in the back. And so yeah, I'm just planning on just hanging out here. If I had thought to move to Ashmore, there's no way I could have done it. I own too many different like garage buildings in town here that I have stuff in, like cars and things like that. So there's no way I could do it. I have one garage down the street that when we shut down the ambulance that I was involved with, I bought that one just so I could put my paranormal equipment and fishing equipment in it. So it's so it's like I got too many ties here with stuff to do anything else. But so we just keep on just living here. And since I've had the heart situation, it's a lot easier up and down the stairs. As little as weird as it probably sounds, last night when I walked up the stairs, my wife's up there, and I told Norma, I said, look, I can walk up the stairs and actually talk when I get to the top of them now, instead of telling you like I'd have to hold my hand up like just wait, because I couldn't talk because it's like I'm out of breath, with the AFib that I've had. So yeah, so it made it a lot easier.
Hey, Robbin, Julie asks, how many places do you own?
The haunted locations, too, being Ashmore and the theater, we are no longer doing investigations here at the theater. We've had a lot of encounters here with a serial killer by the name of Gacy, and I've decided not to do them here anymore. Plus, people that want to investigate, they seem like they're getting worse and worse. They want to come in, and I tell them you can't do this, because my heart would go into AFib a lot of times when we were doing that, and it started racing when they were investigating. So I said, we're done with that. We're not doing them anymore. And they're like, oh, we won't do that. And so they come in here and they start doing it. And I was like, yeah, that's it. We're done. And then it's like, we're going to shut them down at midnight. And they're like, well, we always do it until like 2 or 3 in the morning. I'm like, well, not here, you don't. I like, so told you guys that right up front. And but yeah, so they get mad about it. So I'm like, it's a lot easier just not to do them than it is to do them. So we don't. And we do have one coming out. It was basically the last one. And I was contacted by Kindred Spirits a few years ago about doing one here. And I told them, I said, you guys want to do one here, that's fine. But when you come, you got to put me in a hotel for the nights that you're here, because I'm not staying overnight. I'm not scared to stay here overnight. I stay here every night. But I'm not going to be there while you're investigating. You're trying to reach out to John Wayne Gacy while I'm there. I'm like, no, I'm not going to be there while you're doing that, because it's caused some problems for me. And they're like, well, we don't pay for hotel rooms like that, so we wouldn't be able to do that. So we can do it, but we're not doing that. I'm like, well, then you're not coming at all. And so I told them to forget it. And but I did have a group that reached out to me, the former Holzer File group with Shane Pittman, David Schrader, and Cindy Kaza reached out to me about doing one here. And I told them the same thing. They're like, not a problem. We'll be glad to do it. So they came and investigated, and we stayed at a hotel in Springfield. The nights they were going to be here 2 nights, and they only ended up being here 1. But it's going to be a good episode, because they also shot one out at Ashmore. And if people, you've been involved with the TV stuff, they're a little leery sometimes, especially when I own 2 locations. They're like, we're not going to have you in both of them, because we don't want to make it look like you're a paid actor and all. So they said, we're not going to. I said, I get it. That's not a problem. I said, but so they said, we'll have you in the theater, but we won't have you at Ashmore. And I said, all right. I said, the thing is, I said, I'm probably more popular. That's the wrong word. I'm probably more noticeable at Ashmore than I'm at theater. And I said, that's, and because people know me from Ashmore, I'm like, they don't even know about the theater that much. So, so we ended up, he said, well, let me think about it. And he said, do you think spirits follow you from one place to the other? And I told him, I said, well, this is what I was told 11 years ago. And he's like, he said, let's do it. He said, let's do both. And he said, but we won't tell Cindy we're going to do that. And so they didn't. And I'm very skeptical with psychics, and nothing personal, but very skeptical with psychics. And I didn't know that they really did or didn't tell her. But I could tell that day when we were sitting at Ashmore and we were doing the reveal thing at Ashmore, and Dave said, so I understand your location where you lived haunted. And I said, yeah. He's like, can we investigate there? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Of course, we all knew that they were going to, but you're doing this part for TV. And and I get it. And so he said, how about we just do it now? And Cindy's like, what? We're going to your house? And I said, I guess so, And I said, yeah. It's like 2 hours away. And she's like, okay. Well, when they got here, they told Cindy she couldn't. They brought her around the back of the building, so she had no idea she was coming into a movie theater, because it looks like a big pole barn garage.
Right.
And so it was kind of interesting, because they kind of impressed me more with that, because they did that all off camera. It wasn't like they were staging that with the camera. No, they just told her, park out here and I'll meet you and then we'll bring you in. And so that's what they did. But the 2 episodes are going to be kind of cool, because they are very tied together. And Cindy didn't know it, that they were going to be that tied together until probably after the reveal and after they stopped shooting. So there was more stuff that we talked about after they get done shooting that was like, oh my God, I can't believe, she brought out a picture that she drew, and I'm like, I know what that is. And she's like, well, I just drew it. I didn't know. I said, no, I can show you what that is. And I did. She's like, oh my God. It's like, she's like, and it was like, great, you're bringing it out now, Cindy. We've already got all the equipment put away. And it's like, yeah. So, but yeah, so they said they're going to do something with it in post, but it'll be out in October on Stream Beacon or Beacon TV with Shane Pittman and Josh Purvis as they've done that show. So it should be I think it should be a good show. They did a nice job with things, from the part that I'd seen. they did a nice job with it, and it was more realistic than most of the TV shows of today.
Yeah, they are. That is a good
doing it that
show.
way.
That's one of the better ones.
And
Well-
and then Shane and I had an experience that it was up in we were up in Michigan, and a psychic up there told me about something at Ashmore that Shane and I were both standing there listening to her, and then Cindy tells us the same thing months later down at Ashmore, and I kind of looked at him and I could just pretty much see his lip like turning red because he's like, yeah, I didn't want to say anything at all. She's just talking about this all day. And it's like, oh my God, this is the same thing we were told up in Michigan. And it's
Was
really
that the
weird.
Michigan Paracon, right? That you were told
No.
that?
No,
No?
it was up at the Photographs event that Tim Miley.
Oh,
put on.
okay. The thing with Tim Miley.
Right.
Hey, Bill. And bye, Julie. And Dara asks, how does John Wayne Gacy tie to the Haunted R?
We had there was a lady in Petersburg, Illinois, that she had a summer home. She's just turning out of Chicago, and she had a summer home in Petersburg. And I'd gone down there, and she was selling the home, selling all the antiques, and I collect antique furniture, antique anything. And so she was selling a couple things, and there was an armoire there that I liked, and so I decided to buy this armoire. Well, when I got it home, I refinished it, took it upstairs and got it up there, and for some reason the armoire locked, and I couldn't get it unlocked. And I thought, okay, maybe I brought it upstairs, and it has like a little brass deadbolt. So I turned it upside down and thought I'll take a hammer and take a screwdriver and trying to pry it out of there, and I couldn't get it open. And so I ended up, told my wife, I'm like, can't get it open. We're just gonna leave it. I'm not gonna worry about it. Trying to do it. It's like, just forget it. I said, we got another armoire that opens. This one here, just the drawer opens. Well, the attorney that owned that armoire was also the attorney that represented John Wayne Gacy. And I found out afterwards that she would take paintings that he did for her in prison and store them in that armoire. And so they weren't in there when I bought it. But I'd seen the paintings. In fact, I actually tried to buy the paintings from her. And because I held them, there was 3 paintings that he did for her while he was in prison that he gave her that she had. So we put it upstairs, and but yeah, then we did there was an investigation one night that we were doing. It's I call them newbie nights. They had like 12 people, never investigated before. We were doing everything, and there were some psychics that came through, and they decided to come through with my wife. Well, the one guy actually started picking up on digging, and he was picking up on clowns, and there was one area that he picked up on the Duke. And they all thought it was, the actor, John Wayne, the actor. And he said, so they kind of wandered around, and then he was upstairs and he picked up on this armoire. And he said, there was 2 of them up there. He said, one of them is your grandmother's. And she said, yeah, that was my grandmother's. And he's like, this one here has got some really bad vibe to it. He's like, there's something about this one, but he's like, I don't like this one at all. He's like, this one here, I don't want anything to do with it. And so they kind of wandered downstairs. He's like, all right, I'm seeing clowns down here in your basement and digging in a jail cell. And he said, so I'm not sure what it's all about, but they came upstairs and they're sitting in the theater room here in the house, and they're all trying to figure out what's all this stuff about. And my wife said, well, I don't know if it makes a difference or not, but when I was in college, my roommate's brother was killed by John Wayne Gacy. And he's like, okay, well, I should back up. Patty was standing there, and she told Norma, she's like, Norma, I don't want to alarm you, but John Wayne Gacy's standing right behind you. And she's like, okay. She's like, he's not going to hurt you. He wants to talk to us. But they're like, well, why the hell's he here? And that's my wife told him about her roommate's brother. Well, there's 2 other guys sitting there, and they said, well, when he went to prison, we handled all the paperwork. It went across our desk. Well, then Norma told us, like, well, that armoire upstairs that you didn't like, Damon, that was owned by the attorney representing Gacy. So yeah, it was just bizarre that night that all this stuff all came together at the same time. And since then, we've had more situations. I think you guys are familiar with the Sally House. Mike Pittman. So Mike was there one day. We were doing an event, and Mike, this is like 2 years later, and Mike.
I think you mean Tony. I think you mean Tony.
Tony Pickman. Yeah.
Yeah.
And sorry about that. And Tony Pickman was there, and so. Yeah, that's right, Dave. There, you help you out. So,
Thanks, Dave.
But yeah, Tony picked up. He came out. He's like, hey, I need to talk to you. And I said, what's that? And he's like, I saw somebody stand at the top of your stairs. And I'm like, okay. He goes, I said, so you probably see people everywhere. He's like, yeah, but I don't know how to tell you about this one. And I said, what's that? He's like, it was a serial killer. And I'm like, who was it? I'm knowing who exactly who it was. He's like, it's John Wayne Gacy. I'm like, oh, he's back. He's like, what the hell do you mean he's back? And I said, well, we had encounters from here before. So he came upstairs. He picked up the same armoire. And he actually told us that day, he said, it's locked because there's paintings in here. Well, the Kling brothers, well, actually Brad Kling came up, did an episode there at the building, but we didn't know anything about the paintings at the time. So there's nothing said about that in the episode. So had he watched that episode, he still wouldn't have known about the paintings because they didn't know about it. And it wasn't in the episode. So he said he's protecting these paintings that are in this armoire. And I'm like, there's no paintings in there. He's like, well, he says they are. And I'm like, no, they're not. Tony sat there and argued with me. I'm like, I can't open it and show you, but I guarantee they're not there because I've had it open. And I said, I also touched the painting. So yeah, so it was kind of a bizarre, and we've had situations more that have happened. I mean, he when he lived in Springfield, just like 20 minutes away from here, there's thousands of streets in Springfield, and he lived on a street called Normandy Road. My wife's name's Norma, her dad's name's Norman. It's just like, the synchronicity with all that stuff is just weird. It's like all the streets in town, and he lives on one that basically has their same names. So lots of weird stuff happening with that. So we've just kind of shut things down with it. So good old Dave. Yeah, we were talking about him earlier. So,
yeah, good old Dave.
One of my paranormal children.
Uh-oh. I'm sorry. Put him up for adoption.
I never thought of that.
You tried, right?
I don't think I'd get anything for him.
Well, maybe
just like, so funny story. One time we were at the Sally house and Rick was helping us with chores, and Rick was being Rick, and one of the teenage girls comes upstairs and tells me, your son is being very, very not nice to all of us. And I was like, my son, how old do you think I am? And she goes, we told him we were going to go tell his mom, and he said, okay.
He said,
like,
go for it.
And I was like, no, I'm not his mom. You figure that was, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
At least 10 years ago. So I'm like, kids have no concept of how old people are. I swear they don't. But, and Dara's, she's my other paranormal kid. Now they're fighting over who's my best paranormal kid. So, okay. You know what? They're all great. I love them all because they're not here.
Yeah, there you go.
They're not here fighting over my attention like my grandkids. So, But if are you looking at buying any other locations, or are you just done with that?
No, that's no, I'm done with that. What I'd really like to do, and I've done a little bit of it. In fact, I work with Rhodes Hotel quite a bit, and but what I'd really like to do is do more of a consulting type of stuff with either with new people that bought locations or even current owners that, because there's a lot of times that when you get a new set of eyes in there, things look different. And I've told a couple of them, I'm like, I said, I'm not looking to make money at it. Just pay my expenses to get me wherever you're at. And, I like to see your location and talk to you and have a good time with it because I enjoy doing it anyway. So to me, it's not a job. But at the same time, it's like I don't really want to be out of pocket for, coming out and helping somebody. But, I've done some stuff. I've been out to St. Albans, and I've sat down with Marcella out there quite a bit. And she's asked me a couple of questions before about how do you do this or how do you, and then I'm like, giving her ideas. She's like, that was so easy. Why didn't I figure that out? I'm like, because you just needed another set of eyes to tell you, or just, ears to listen and come up with an idea for you. And so that's what's worked out really well for me. And I've done the Cheney Mansion in Jerseyville, Illinois. And I've helped them out quite a bit. Set up a website originally for them, did Facebook page, all that stuff, and get them started on that so they could start In fact, actually, I just got a text message from them today. I heard from them quite a while because they've been up running so good. Rhodes Hotel with Crystal. I talked to Crystal quite, not daily, but darn near. In fact, quite a bit today. Some couple things that she had going on up there. So, but yeah, I enjoy it, and I've never once sit there and anybody's ever called me from another venue or asked me, how do you do this, or what do you charge for this, or why do you charge this, and I just tell them, I'm like, it's because I look at it that they're not my competition.
No.
I don't look at that at all like that. There's nobody that's, the only way there's competition, if you decide you're going to one location that year, which one you go to, that's the only way. And frankly, if you're only doing one, you're probably not in it very much anyway. So it's not going to make a whole difference. But yeah, I just, to me, that's the fun part of it too, is just talking to people about it. And, just even when I come out to Ashmore, just sitting there talking to people out there when they come in and out of the building, it's what's fun.
What plans do you have this year? Are you planning on going to any other events this year?
Yep. Yeah, Ashley and I we've got a few of them lined up. We're going to. I told her, I said, I'm taking her to a bunch of them with me. We went to Texas in March. We drove down to Texas to the Lone Star Paracon with the Kling brothers put on. So her and I drove down there and did that. That was a long drive, but it was kind of nice because we had a chance to talk about a bunch of stuff and plan stuff and organize some things on the way down there. But we're going to, I think the next one's Paranormal Rock Down up in Broadhead, for Broadhead School in Broadhead, Wisconsin. I think that's the next one we're going to. I take it back. I'm going to one over in, where am I going? Oh, to Lancaster, Ohio. To I think it's one of Adam Kimmel's that he's putting on over there. Wasn't going to do that one because we had an event, actually Tim Miley, but it got canceled. So I'm going over to that one instead. And in fact, I'm picking Crystal Couch up on the way, and so her and I are going to ride over there, and she's going to take stuff for Rhodes Hotel, and I'll have Ashmore Estates over there.
Are you going to Gettysburg Battlefield Bash this year?
No, we weren't invited out there. I mean, yeah, I know you can be a vendor out there. We weren't invited to come out or for any real reason at all. But so probably not. I am going to do one in September down in Kentucky that I was invited to come down and speak actually about venues and the whole events about venue owners and everything. So I'm going to go down and talk about buying and selling venues and everything in between. And,
where in Kentucky?
Is it Covington? I think right across from Cincinnati.
Okay.
Like right on the other side of the river.
Yeah, right by Bobby Mackey's and all that. Yep.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly
I think it's right. I think it's right there. I think it's Covington. I think that's the name of the town that the Maria Schmidt's putting it on. But I'll have to check again to make sure. But it's right. I know it's right across from the river from Cincinnati, and I think that is Covington. So
Yep.
So yeah, looking forward to that one. That'll be a fun one to go down there and do. But I don't know how well it'll tend to be because there's no big TV stars there. There'll be a bunch of these. I know she's bringing in 3 from over across the pond. Is it Leap Castle? She's got Leap Castle owner coming in and 2 other owners from castles and some of the stuff over there. So so there'll be a lot of interesting people there to listen to talk to about different. We think our stuff here when it's 100 years old is really cool. Their stuff over there when it's 500 years is really cool.
Yeah.
So that'll be a fun one to do. But I think that's about it for the most part. We've kind of lined up some. With the heart situation I had, I wasn't quite sure about things, but now that's because I actually wasn't supposed to have my operation until July 31st. But then I got a phone call like 2 weeks ago, and said, "What are you doing like in a week?" And I'm like, "What do you want me to do?" And like, we got an opening on this date. I'm like, "Let's do it." So so I had picked it right before we had an event out at Ashmore. So it's I took one of the girls down to. I think there was a whirlwind week. Took to go, and one girl to the airport, came back, met some people there that were doing an event that night there. Talked to them for a few minutes, and then turned around, had to leave it at 6 o'clock the next morning to go and get a CT scan of my heart. Got done with that, and then had to go in on Thursday then, basically for the ablation, and out Friday. Got home Friday afternoon and took off, headed to Ashmore, and came back Saturday afternoon to the house here, and been here since. So
I'm just glad that you're doing good, and hopefully the ablation works for a little while for you this time. And because I know they say that they can last
About 5 years.
Yeah, depending upon the person. I just had to wear a heart monitor. Just got
5
it
to
off.
10.
Yeah, I just got my heart monitor off on May the 5th, and I'm waiting on the results of that because I'd had my ablation in April of 2024. So we're hoping that it lasts more than a year. So
my last one lasted about 15 minutes. So, yep. And this was my fourth one. And so, yeah, I think my longest one's been about 3 years. And, but yeah, and the other ones were like months. And then the last one was like 15 minutes. So this one's already lasted longer than the last one I got. So it's like good. So yeah, we're getting closer to a week old now. So, but they actually have a new method out now. They do it. In fact, I think I'm going to be a walking EVP machine because they do it with radio frequency now.
yeah.
And so yeah, so it's like maybe kicking off EVPs or something. I don't know, but yeah, it's a little bit different than the ones they did in the past.
But I tell you, I have this Lynx device, and I tease everybody that I could be an an EMF, an electromagnetic force on myself because I've got 13 little magnets that if you spin me around, maybe I'll go fast enough to where I'll be an EM pump. So
there you go.
Yeah, so I don't know. They're titanium. I mean, at least they're expensive magnets.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
So, but so far nothing. You know what? We've never checked it out to see if I give off any EMF. So I just know I can't have any MRIs. I know I'm not allowed to have MRIs.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, because
Right.
I'm full of magnets. So
Gotcha. Right.
love you too, Richie. And
Now, Robbin, are you going to be a speaker up there at Paranormal Lockdown?
No, we're going to be up there, but yeah, I did they actually didn't have it last year, but last year when I was up there, I did speak then, but on some topics, but yeah, they haven't asked me to this year. I am going to do something that I think will be kind of fun. Is they asked me to take part of Scotty Rorick's. He's doing his match game, and so I got a call from them and asked me if I'd be interested in sitting in on the panel for the match game that he does. And if you're not familiar with that, it's basically just kind of okay. So if you're familiar with it, yeah, it can be kind of lewd and crude and fun and exciting and all that at the same time. So yeah, so I was asked to be part of that. So I don't know if my sense of humor is that good or that's bad, but at the same time, it's like, yeah.
So there'll be a lot going on up there. Dark Realm TV will be up there.
Yeah.
All three of them.
So, I've been on those guys for a long time.
they're good guys.
Yeah,
So,
they are.
Yep.
Well, Robbin, we're coming to the end of the show. Where can everybody find you?
Best thing to do is just you can find us at ashmorestates.net on our website, Facebook page at Ashmore Estates. Just give us a call. Numbers on there on the website, should be on the Facebook page, and info@ashmorestates.net is the email address. So it's all pretty much tied right there. But we're always there. The emails, Ashley and I see everything. So if you say anything bad about me, I'm going to know about it. And but yeah, so you can email us at info@ashmorestates or check out websites and. Or give her a call, set up a date that you may want to investigate out there. And, I don't think you'll regret it. And I'm not saying that just from a marketing side of things, but I hardly ever hear anybody that walks out of there that, if they say that they didn't get anything, they still say, I'll be back because we really enjoyed the building. And that's, to me, it's the main thing. It's like, we want to make sure that the building is enjoyable, that people have a good time at the building itself. Everything else is a bonus as far as I'm concerned.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, and we really appreciate your time and Ashley's as well. And so everybody, please go out and check out all the Ashmore Estates websites and stuff out there so that you guys can find out what we've been talking about and why it's such a great place to go. And it is a great place to team build. I mean, whether it's for the paranormal or just regular team building for your office, it is a great place to do that. And that's coming from the corporate side of Denise, not the ghost hunting side of Denise.
Yeah, it's a great location.
It is.
Right.
And
Well, thanks, guys.
Yeah, we've been there.
so I hope you guys will join us here next Tuesday night for our guest, Jeremy York. And we'll be here at 6 p.m. Central every Tuesday. So check out that next week. And check out the Paranormal Pride next Monday at 7 p.m. Central when my guest, Frank J. Bennett, returns. He wants to talk about the event that he went to and the one that he's going to. So we're going to talk to him again. So you can find us every place that you caught us tonight, and which is Temple of Phoenix Rising Entertainment Facebook page, Things Network Facebook page that Ron, Carl, and I are all part of. Things of him of Missouri, us of Kansas, of Florida.
Bite your tongue.
And of course, Kat, she's part of the network too, and she's of Alabama. So make sure you check out that. You can also find us on Dark Realm TV, on the Roku app, and on Amazon Fire, and soon to be on Apple TV. You can also find us on Carl's YouTube page, the Paranormal Pride YouTube page, and let's see what else we got. Oh, and the Paranormal Pride Facebook page. So we got you covered. And if you didn't find us in any of those places, go check us out on Rumble. We will be there. If we're not there tonight, we will be
We're
there. On I don't see it. That's why I'm saying.
I know. I don't either. I set it up.
Okay, so we're also on Rumble. So if you don't find us and you really want to get us someplace, contact me or Carl and we will get us there. So you guys have a great night. Carl, do you have anything you want to say?
That's it. Just check out the Millerites Network for all the shows all week long and everything. Tomorrow night will be Paranormal Experience with Kat Hobson. So check that show out. And that's all I got to say. And we will see you next Tuesday night here on Paranormal Nation Radio, Not So Normal. Everybody have a good evening.
You too. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you, Wesley.
Right.